Common challenges, shared responsibilities. We're now joined by Joseph Williams. He's a former senior editor at U.S. News and World Report. Thank you so much for joining us. So, about $25 million raised last night. We've seen some lackluster support, shall we say, amongst Democrats for Biden. But last night, they managed to coalesce to raise this really big number.
Yeah, and it's exactly what the Biden campaign needs. It's kind of a shot in the arm, number one, to infuse his campaign with even more cash. He's got about a $30 to $40 million fundraising gap ahead of Donald Trump, but it also lent the campaign a lot of star power because you have big celebrities, Lizzo, Stephen Colbert. The place was packed with A-listers that kind of lends the campaign some reflected glory, if you will, some glitz by association that the critics of Biden say he sorely needs. Even some Democrats say he sorely needs some kind of pizzazz to get people excited about what's going on. So not only did he raise more money and add to an already stuffed war chest, he also got some really needed, badly needed juice to let people know he's still on the scene, and people who are on television and who are in entertainment really are standing behind the president.
Yeah, you talked about a stuffed war chest. Just how much of a cash edge do Democrats have right now?
Right now, the party as a whole is outraising the Republicans in the presidential campaign. It's about maybe a 1.5 to 1 edge Biden has over Trump. Biden's got about 128 million in the bank. Trump's got a little under 94. But even saying so indicates the fact that Donald Trump has lost a lot of glitz. Plus, he's under a lot of financial pressure. Keep in mind, he's facing about $500 million worth of judgments in New York City, along with the payments that he's got to make to E. Jean Carroll. And he's got a ton of legal bills that are happening right now with two criminal cases, and one, actually, I think all 4 of them are criminal cases. But certainly he's going to be in court a lot. Those lawyers aren't cheap, and his fundraising is lagging. So what's happening right now is a lot of people are kind of suspicious of donating to Donald Trump, concerned that if they give him money, that it's going to go to his legal defense and not to his political campaign.
Yeah, and he's out selling Bibles as well, presumably to help with those fundraising efforts as well. I want to ask you, Joseph, what do you say to critics that say, it's quite telling that Biden needed Obama and Clinton and all of that star power, the old guard, so to speak, to get the kind of cash injection that he did get last night in New York?
I think it's an important sign, mainly because President Biden, by all accounts, people have been talking about his age. They've been talking about he's maybe lost a step even since 2020. And that kind of rallying matters. It's kind of a reminder to the voters, a reminder to fundraisers that this was the party that elected the first black president. This was the party of when Clinton won his office that reduced the national deficit. They're leaning on past glories to try to get people to remember what this election is all about. Not to mention the fact that having 3 ex-presidents on the stage is something that the Republicans would probably struggle to do right now, considering one of their ex-presidents is Donald Trump. He's not very popular with the public. He's got some juice inside the Republican Party, but even there are a lot of people who feel he's a divisive figure. So I think they're showing why people should vote Democrat and not for the Republicans with that kind of display of firepower.
And Trump's campaign responded saying, this 3-president fundraiser clearly shows a difference between Democratic reliance on billionaires and stars with those deep pockets, in contrast to the working class supporters donating to the former president. What's your reaction to that?
Well, they're not necessarily wrong. Politics has been trending that way ever since the Citizens United decision just kind of opened up the floodgates to cash and funding these campaigns. However, they might want to be careful about throwing that particular stone, because about 3/4 of Donald Trump's campaign fundraising has relied on big donors, and it's never a good look if your candidate is selling Bibles essentially door to door to try to raise the kind of cash he'll need to compete with a party that's outraising him by about 1.5 percentage points. So it's a good criticism. And it's a valid criticism, but I think the criticism extends to politics in the United States as a whole. We're probably facing an election that will cost upwards of $1 billion, if not more. And that's on top of 2 other elections that were breaking records for the amount of money, the amount of campaign cash spent in order to get their person into elected office.
Yeah, and every dollar is going to count. We are going to have to leave it there, but a great conversation. Joseph Williams, thank you so much.